FTP. Welcome back, BG Nation. It is week 6, and we are happy to be back in the studio.
Yes, sir. Happy to be back in the studio. We just want to say happy Thanksgiving to the fans out there. I know you had a good Thanksgiving. Well, kind of.
Definitely a good start to the Thanksgiving. We, just like everyone else, we had a great feast. Definitely a great feast. But I and my co-host Joanne, we definitely might have overdone it. Overdid the eating. We unfortunately both threw up. I don't know when you exactly.
I threw up on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
I was trying to go for. Yeah. I was trying to go 8 plates. That was my goal. I got about 4 plates in, and then I had to take a walk. Belly was too full, and I threw up everywhere. I threw up all over the front yard. So that's me. I think you had a different circumstance.
I had it. Yes. That is insane to hear about. 8 plates is honestly record breaking.
I didn't get there though. I did not get there. It was
how far did you get?
4, and then back for a 5th, like around 2 in the morning.
It's crazy.
So
yeah, I definitely had a little late fuse. Towards the end of the weekend, I felt ill. Woke up. I was supposed to go fishing with our producer E in the back, producer Eli, and my friend Gumbo, our homie Gumbo. But I threw up, bro. I couldn't handle it.
Producer E, say what's up. Say hi.
Hello, viewers.
Yeah.
Ooh, new producer. Let us know how you like it. But yeah.
Sure.
All right.
But other than that, we're feeling pretty good. Feeling happy to be back in the studio. Make sure y'all keep liking and sharing the podcast for sure. We appreciate all the support. We definitely want to get it out past what we have right now, and yeah.
So far it's been pretty good. The rise in viewership, except for the last episode, which I don't blame.
It's all good.
It was scuffed. Roy was whispering the whole time. I introed with the ASMR segment, so
definitely a scuff setup, but
hey, we're back. We're back in the stew.
Sure.
But yeah, like, subscribe, share. But let's get on. First, again, we wanted to apologize for the scuff setup of last week. Not a lot of people watched it. I don't blame them, but it's still good stuff. We do have some good predictions.
Yep.
But unfortunately, leading to our next apologies, some bad predictions too. I'll start off. I went 7-9 in pick'ems. You know what? That's a lot better than I thought I did. I started the week 0 for 4. I already knew the week was over, but you didn't do crazy good either. Yeah. But yeah, and then yours part of it.
Yeah, talking about our picks, I had some very, very trash gambling takes. That Thanksgiving slate, honestly, it was freaks too. It was definitely freaks, but I definitely need to do some more research. I'm sorry about that if you did lose any money. But, we'll definitely strike back harder this week. We'll get into that later, though.
Eli, did you follow his picks?
Eli did not tail, but that's all good,
So, losing money.
Yeah.
Losing money.
Fortunate, but it's all good. We apologize for that. We apologize.
But yeah, on to last week's takes. Again, we were wrong, at least me, on a historic level. However, I'm kind of proud of this take right here. I look back on it today. Or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, actually, at this point. No, it might have been last week.
I believe so.
But I did say AR-15 might be the second scoring option on the Lakers. You know what? Very early into LeBron being back. However, AR-15 is hooping. You said he just dropped 44 points?
I believe he just dropped 44 against the Raptors Thursday night, this past Thursday night. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, second option take really prevailed. It's showing out right now. And yeah, you're right. LeBron, what is it? Early and back into his sciatica injury. But I believe he has right joint arthritis right now, right foot arthritis. He's dealing with a lot of things right now,
He's on, but AR-15 is averaging 28.
Yep.
The Lakers are rolling right now, and so keep an eye out for that one.
For sure.
That might be a early hit on the season for my takes. But moving on to POS of the week. We really did not have one coming up.
Yep.
First came to mind was Lane Kiffin again, because he's coming really big in the news right now.
Yep.
But on the way here, we're recording this super late. We had to get eats. We had to get eats before here. So our usual Mickey D's before we come on and eat.
Mickey D's.
But it was very, very late. I think we waited around 30 minutes. But the guy giving us our order wanted us to make sure we knew it was not his fault. So for our POS of the week, quote unquote, these are not my words. This is a worker from Mickey D's.
Yep.
The POS of the week is his new bitch manager from McDonald's. Again, that's not me. I did not say that myself.
Yep.
He said it himself. And you know what? Apparently, according to him, that's the reason we're late here today.
Yeah.
We got our food, but he had a lot of choice words for some I cannot repeat on here. He almost dropped.
I mean, he definitely had his fair share of words for his manager, his new manager, by the way.
New manager.
We don't want to throw him under the bus or anything, but I mean,
POS of the week.
Definitely POS of the week.
I've never met the lady, but just the way you described her, hobbling, slow.
That was insanity. Honestly, that was an insane fever dream type of experience. But I'm honestly glad it happened, but.
It made my day. It woke me up.
Sure.
I was pretty mad. Had the Mickey D's late, but we're here. We're recording. POS of this week will be manager at McDonald's lady.
Yep.
Don't know her name.
New POS of the week, but yeah. Getting into some the biggest news across, all sports, but we could definitely get into some NFL talk first. We have the Cowboys playoffs you have written down here. You want to talk about that?
Cowboys playoffs. So the Cowboys just played the Lions. Yeah. They just lost. Honestly, did you watch the game towards the end or no?
I did, yes.
Very BS call on their tight end. Ferguson?
Okay, yeah,
Fergie.
yeah.
I thought it should have been DPI. They called OPI. Yeah. Cowboys have to settle for a field goal. Changes the rest of the game. They end up losing that game. So their playoff chances go down a little bit now. I want to talk a little bit about the playoff chances for the Cowboys. And just the Cowboys in general, their future going on. But yeah,
sure.
Unfortunately, the Cowboys' playoff chances have dropped to 8 to 9%.
Yeah.
So not very likely to make the playoffs. They're 6-6-1. But I just want to say pretty good turnaround for the Cowboys. At the beginning of the season, I thought they were dead to rights. They would get blown out by 40-some games, but look good other games. But honestly, altogether, they just beat a good Kansas City Chiefs team. They just competed really well with, some people say, the favorite to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC, the Lions. So I just want to shout the Cowboys a little bit. I know I gave a lot of Dak hate, but he's balling out right now.
Yep.
That defense is playing well. And yeah, what do you have to say about the Cowboys?
I mean, yeah. So over the past couple pods, we've definitely shared our thoughts on, the Cowboys and how we feel about Dak and the MVP conversation, or, Cowboys in the playoffs conversation. Yeah, I was really liking how they're moving. Cowboys fans were moving different from weeks 11 through 13. They're feeling different. I'm partially a Cowboys fan, so I definitely like to see him win. But yeah, we definitely watched that game last night against the Lions. Definitely an interesting call by the refs.
Yeah.
You're not going to make perfect calls, but at the same time, the Cowboys defense gave up, what was it, 44 points?
Yeah. It is.
You can't really.
It's the Lions.
Yeah.
The Lions are a really good offense, so it's kind of understandable. Again, you can't be doing that, though. But yeah, honestly, all my life, I've really been a Cowboys hater. That's why when anyone brings up the Cowboys, I kind of just laugh.
Yeah.
I say, okay, yeah, Cowboys are the Cowboys. But I will not lie. This season, they've been almost must-watch TV.
For sure.
When the Cowboys are playing, I want to watch that game. They're fun to play. Their defense is rejuvenated. Yeah. And having George Pickens on that side of the ball on offense has just made the difference. And
yeah, no, I definitely think that game really could have gone either way for the Cowboys. I think CD going down definitely hurt them. Prayers up for CD. I believe he's has a concussion. But yeah, I definitely think it could have gone either way. They kept it competitive the entire game. Like you said, the Cowboys, in all, the whole season, I think they had a fairly successful season. I mean, they beat a lot of big teams that they wanted to beat, or they were probably the underdogs in my opinion, right?
Yes.
And new head coach, Schottenheimer, is that his name? Schottenheimer. I like what he's done and brought to the Cowboys franchise, and yeah.
No, for sure. So I didn't have very high expectations for the Cowboys. I honestly thought they were tanking for Arch Manning. I mean, that was
for Arch?
Yeah, I saw a lot of talk about that, a lot of edits. But you know what? I had someone tell me the Cowboys are never going to be tanking. They're going to always try to put a competitive team out there. And they did. They really went out there. I didn't have many expectations for Schottenheimer at all, or Dak, or that defense. But they retooled that defense. They lost Micah, which to this day, we have a lot of mad Cowboys fans because DaRon Bland is getting put on all fours almost every week.
I did see that.
He got vanished from the play by Marvin Harrison Jr. on the goal line. Oh, yeah. He got put in perfect push-up position by Jahmyr Gibbs this last game. Freaking head bobbled on the ground by Jahmyr Gibbs. Man. And people are saying, you really paid DaRon Bland but not Micah Parsons? That's an L. But
crazy.
No, they're trotting out a competitive team week after week. And I have a huge respect for the Cowboys for still putting up must-see TV, good offense, and retooling that defense.
No doubt.
But yeah, no, I mean, that just kind of brings up, they did have a really good season this year, but we could also talk about what we can expect in the future because Dak's playing really good. He is playing really, really good. However, I still have my questions about him. He hasn't taken that team over the hump over the past couple of years. He is, making strides, but he's also not the youngest quarterback in the world.
Yeah.
He's 32. He's on the older side of these quarterbacks. How much longer do the Cowboys really have with Dak? 32 years old. Once a quarterback gets to that 34, 35, you really see a steep drop-off. So, I mean, is it time to start maybe a look in the future?
For sure. No, I definitely get what you're saying. Like you said, I feel like the QB age, obviously we have some outliers like Tom Brady, but I feel like the average QB age is around 34 through 36, around that age, where they start seeing a drop off in their skills. I believe, yes, obviously they should definitely look into a backup for Dak, a younger backup, but I think Dak still has a nice, long tenure with the Cowboys still. What do you think about that?
I think within the next, it's kind of hard. It's hard with the Cowboys because in my mind, I can see them getting an Arch Manning. Just imagine the sales on those like jerseys. Imagine all the sales you'd make having Arch Manning, the quarterback of the Cowboys. But historically, they haven't really picked those quarterbacks in the high rounds. They found Dak, I believe, in the mid rounds, in the fourth round. Before that, Tony Romo undrafted. So, and no one really expected Dak to take over Tony Romo's job. It was just kind of a quarterback they drafted in the end. He had talent and they needed him, and he stepped up. So I can see the Cowboys going out for one of these Arch Manning type quarterbacks in the future.
Tradition?
Maybe, but at the same time, it could come out of nowhere. Like, no one expected Tony Romo to be the starting quarterback.
Right.
No one expected Dak Prescott to really take over that spot. So, I mean, it can really come out of nowhere in how it has in the past.
Think a little Joe Milton action?
No, I don't
You
think
don't like Joe Milton? He has an arm, though.
He has a very good arm. He's very talented, but he doesn't have the intangibles to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He does not have the mental capability, in my opinion.
Let us know what you think about that, Cowboys fans. I think Joe Milton is definitely he's a baller, no doubt.
Him at his best, he looks amazing, but he really just hasn't made those leaps. He's a practice hero.
Right.
No offense to him. He's a clip farmer with his talent.
He definitely is a clip farmer, though.
But the last little thing I did want to talk about the Cowboys. Obviously, we spoke on Shoddy a little bit. I wasn't inspired by that hire. Obviously, you let go Mike McCarthy, who had good seasons with them, taking them to the playoffs like year after year, getting wins. They hired Schottenheimer, his coordinator. I didn't think that was a very inspiring call. I thought he was just, going to be there for a little bit. But what he has done with the Cowboys this year, honestly, has been inspiring. He has turned it around. I can say I was wrong on Schottenheimer. And in the past, earlier this season, I would have thought, okay, they're probably just kind of tanking a little bit, having a whatever coach for now until they find their actual guy. But could Schottenheimer really be the guy? Like I said, he has turned that ship around and made them competitive this year. I
definitely agree with you. I think he's a coach for the future, in my opinion. And honestly, I feel like many Cowboys fans across the nation would also agree with me. Schottenheimer, I think good coaches with that type of culture who bring in that type of energy, really, you can't find just on the street. You can't find anywhere. So it's definitely good that they found in the organization as well, so he knows the ins and out. And so, I definitely like Schottenheimer, no doubt.
He's cool.
For sure.
I think Jared Jones is always going to hire a limp guy.
You think so?
In my opinion, you go
so
back.
He can kind of like control? Or what
yeah,
do you think?
so he can control him really. Because obviously Jerry Jones wants to be in control of Cowboys.
Right.
He had, Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah.
They fired that someone he had beef with for a long time. Jimmy Johnson, they obviously had their disagreements. He's no longer there. And since then, I feel like he's really just hired, in my opinion, wet noodles, guys that he can kind of just control. He wants to be in control. He wants to be the one that takes takes the credit for the glory. Like if the Cowboys won right now with this team that he had, I feel like Jerry Jones would get a lot of the glory. Like, okay,
no doubt,
he's a good GM. He made a good hire with Schottenheimer. No one believed in Schottenheimer. He built a good roster. He made those trades. So I believe Jerry Jones personally wants a lot of that glory. So he has guys like Mike McCarthy, Jason Garrett, now Schottenheimer, not crazy personality coaches.
Yeah.
So that way he has a bit more control of the team to do whatever he wants. So Schotty might be the guy that stays there for a while. But that also might be then that you do need a good head coach to win in the NFL.
Sure.
So maybe that's his downfall at the end of the day.
It really could be, but no, I definitely get what you're saying with that.
But I think that's pretty much all we have on the Cowboys. Do you have anything else on the Cowboys personally?
I really don't. Tragic to see their playoff chances go to a 8 to 9% chances now. If they would have won, it would have went up to, I believe, like 60%, high 60s maybe. Yeah. And that's just crazy. That's just how it is, though. And it's unfortunate to see, but
season's not over. I mean, it's not 0%.
It really isn't,
They're not eliminated. There is a chance. There is a chance they still make it. So, in my opinion, Cowboys are still must-watch football. They're still a very hot team. Shout out to the Cowboys. Shout out our Cowboy fans. I know we have a lot of them.
Sure.
Dallas Cowboys, going in the right direction. I'm interested to see what they do in the future. But moving on to some college football talk. The biggest talk in college football, besides the playoffs, which are going on here shortly, is Lane Kiffin, someone we have spoken about in the past as well. So you're familiar with what's going on with Lane Kiffin right now?
I'm very familiar with what's going on with Lane Kiffin. Actually, I don't know if you saw that he pressed a reporter for calling him a quote-unquote hoe, something that you kind of did yourself in past episodes.
I did call him a thotty. I did call him the thought of college football. And you know what? It's not crazy to say the way you jump around from college to college.
Right.
You've obviously seen his antics outside of just football itself with the blondes.
He does love his yoga. It's quite interesting.
He loves his 20-year-old campus girls as well. So I think all around, Lane Kiffin a hoe. In my opinion, you know what?
Be careful.
You said he pressed him. You said, I might be next. I might be the next guy in the future. You know what? I'd be honored to be pressed by Lane Kiffin, in my opinion. I would love for him to press me because he is still a thotty. He is still a thought. You're a hoe. So let's see how he turns out at LSU.
Wow.
But yeah.
No, for sure. I definitely, if y'all didn't see, he recently signed with LSU. Hence the word we're saying he's a thought, as in like he's going around and flirting with these different teams, the SEC schools. And he just left his Ole Miss tenure. How many years was he there for?
4, I believe 4 years.
I definitely didn't know that. I thought it was a shorter head coach term.
No, 4 years. He turned them around. I looked at how Ole Miss did before him.
Yeah.
I think very few winning seasons. And since he's been there, they've been like nonstop 10 to 11 win teams.
Yeah.
So historically, Ole Miss has not been great. What he did there, he did turn them around a good amount. He's a program builder. I sent you that video just of his history.
Yeah.
Every time he leaves an organization, it seems to just be a complete dumpster fire.
Right.
Back to when he left the Raiders. They had a PowerPoint presentation on all the reasons they fired him. Is that not crazy?
That is crazy.
A PowerPoint presentation on all the reasons why your coach is getting fired. That's how that went. He left Alabama right before they coached the national championship game, and when he left, they lost that national championship game.
That was whenever they put Sark in. I believe,
they put Sark in, and Sark eventually became a good play caller, but I mean, at the very end, for the national championship game not being there, that's going to cause
for sure, no doubt,
a loss. But again, Ole Miss. And then he went to Tennessee. He went to Tennessee for a year. The fans loved him. He turned it around, and 1 year later, he went to USC, and the fans, just like they did in Ole Miss, were waiting for him at the airport to boo him out of the field. And they threw a bunch of, I think, a mustard bottle. They threw a mustard bottle, golf balls onto the field when he returned back to Tennessee. So safe to say he's had his history of being a little thought and jumping around to different programs.
Nah, that's crazy. I definitely didn't know he had this many coaching jobs.
Yeah.
And you said he's a program builder. What kind of coordinator was he? Offensive coordinator?
Yes,
at
offensive
Alabama?
Coordinator.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about his actual game and, why these teams actually love him this much. But he has a quite deep resume.
He does, but what a lot of people point to, he's been to all these programs. He has changed them. But what a lot of people don't understand is why he's so coveted when he technically has never won a national championship. He's been at all these programs, and he's like the highest sought-after guy anytime he goes to the coaching carousel. How we just saw with LSU, his lucrative deal. And people are saying he has never even won a national championship. So what really warrants this? Obviously, he can make a good team, but you see guys like James Franklin getting fired for building good teams that don't win the championship. He is year in and year out build good teams that don't make the championship. But that's different. An Ole Miss is different from an LSU. So people are very interested to see what he does at LSU. LSU is obviously one of the most rich schools, one of the most prestigious football schools. They have some of the best players go there, some of the best players in Louisiana for recruiting. So who cares at the end of the day if you're Lane Kiffin or LSU, because you are at a better situation. For himself and his family, going to LSU is a better situation. For LSU, bringing in a coach like that is a better situation. So at the end of the day, who really cares? It's a big dub for LSU.
No doubt. No, for sure a big dub for LSU and LSU fans. I feel like he's definitely going to bring that culture to LSU. But you got to feel for the Ole Miss fans. You got to feel for him. You got to definitely feel for him.
Especially how he left right now. Yeah. They're a top 10 ranked team, 11-1 going to the playoffs, and they're going in it without their head coach.
Exactly.
They're set to fail. I don't know who they're going to play, but whoever they play in the playoffs is set to fail. You're going into there without your head coach, guys that have been there from the beginning, 4 years, they've been waiting for this moment. The first time they made the playoffs, and you finally make the playoffs with the coach you came to the school to play for, and you don't have him now in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, big dub for Kiffin and LSU, but huge L for Ole Miss and those kids that really wanted to play for that coach.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of starstruck that even happened. We're good?
Yeah.
They got into, I believe, Lane Kiffin talked to management about this, wondering if he could actually coach the team through the playoffs because the portal kind of works interesting in college.
Yeah.
He had to sign with LSU, which caused him to, eventually, get into discussions with management about this whole issue. And the head management said that he cannot coach Ole Miss during the playoffs. So it's not even like he can, it's not his decision. It's really not.
But, I mean, it makes sense. The way that college football works, it lines up more with the academic schedule of classes. So semester's ending right now around December. So you're trying to bring in these kids for enrollment. So that's why they set it up that way where he has to leave. And if you're also management for LSU or for Ole Miss, you don't want him there. I mean, this is a guy that basically said he's not going to be there anymore. Right. Why would you want him around there to have more time to take some of those players? Maybe convince those players and staff, hey, I'm still here for y'all, but why not come with me to LSU after the season? We're still going to be here for a season. Right. I mean, he already said, F you, I'm leaving, I'm heading out of there.
Kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid at that point then.
Exactly.
For Ole Miss.
Exactly. Wow. So, if you're Ole Miss, you got to get ahead of it. You lost Lane Kiffin. You already just got to part ways with them. You got to part ways. You got to move on. You got to do your own thing. You got to move on at that point already.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy to me. Like, players can really, if they really root for their coach that they played for at the time, like a Lane Kiffin situation at Ole Miss, they could transfer out of Ole Miss and go to LSU that same season.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy to me. I didn't even really realize.
Yeah, but a bunch of these guys are going to be opting out. A bunch of these guys are not going to be playing in the playoffs because they want to go play for LSU. And that's just the current state of college football. I mean, we saw currently what Colorado did. Freaking like almost all the players that were on Colorado before Deion Sanders got there got shipped out. They weren't there anymore. I mean, just the way the transfer portal works, that's just how it is nowadays. A coach changes an entire culture. A coaching change is way bigger in college football than it is in the NFL. I've always said that the main people, the main protagonists, the rock stars of college football are not the players, because players only stay for about 2 years. Yeah. It's really the coaches, because players will follow coaches. Recruits will come in and year out. Transfer people will come in because of the coach, not because of the player. Arch Manning is going to be gone in 1 to 2 years. So the program's not built around him. It's built more around Sark and what he can do for the entire future. So, again, a lot of repercussions all throughout college football. Lots of coaching changes, but Lane Kiffin truly, again, going back. Biggest one, POS, Thoughty, Ho, Lane Kiffin.
Be careful, bro. Be careful. That's all I got to say.
Be careful. Alrighty.
But yeah, no, we could definitely get into some NBA biggest news. One of the bigger teams in media, the Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. We could talk about LeBron's record being broken, 18-year-long record of having 10 points a game. And it's gone, 18 years. Did you see the game by chance?
I did not watch the game, but I got the alert right away. I fell to my knees. I was at work, and I got the alert that LeBron's 18-year-long record broke. I fell to my knees in the break room. I could not believe it. And then right away, I saw ESPN shift the narrative. LeBron selfishly gives up his record to give it to Hachimura for the win. I mean, I guess technically, but that's probably how I painted myself too.
No, I definitely
selfless.
I definitely get that. At the end of the day, he is a top 5. I believe he's number 4 right now, all-time assists. He's a passer. I think he's a natural passer, playmaker. I think that's his natural ability, other than scoring, rather than scoring. And, yeah, that pass to Rui Hachimura in the corner for the 3 was the right play to make, in my opinion. And, he got it done. He got the dub. He personally said in an interview, I believe, after that game, that he doesn't even mind. He doesn't even think about it because, he got the dub at the end of the day. And, I mean, that's what it's all about.
I mean, at the end of the day, no one in the NBA history has ever done that. Like, I'm watching Wemby and his greatness right now. And even then, he'll have some games where he doesn't score 10 points. I'm like, dang, LeBron for 18 years to score 10 points year after year, game after game, night after night. That is so impressive. It finally came to an end. He's like 40 years old, so it makes sense. But, man, if you're Rui Hachimura in the corner, you got to make that shot.
For sure.
If LeBron's giving up his 18-year-long record to pass it to you for the win, you have to be making that shot. There's nothing about it. But They got the dub, like you said. Lakers moved to 16-5, and they are hooping.
No doubt. Big win against the Raptors. This is the game that the streak was broken against. Like you said, 16-5. And honestly, we can get into some talks about the greatest white duo ever, potentially. Luka and AR-15 have been hooping and carrying the Lakers to these dubs. Like you said in previous weeks, AR-15 is now the second option potentially, and that is honestly looking pretty solid to me.
No, he's averaging 28 points per game, which I had to do a double check on that. Right. I just wanted to check who was leading the points per game for the Lakers, and I saw he was averaging 28 points per game. I had to click on it again. I had to check a different website. I was like,
it's crazy.
There's no way he's averaging 28, but he is. Honestly, to say greatest white duo ever is pretty insane just because.
Name list?
I don't, but I know there's some duos back in the 50s that were hooping.
Nah.
Some plumbers.
Okay, yes, I do get that, but I feel like if they win a chip, there could be some talks. There really could be some talks.
The greatest white duo ever.
It's a big statement.
I mean, Luka obviously carrying that duo, but I mean, AR-15 is such a nice find. He's having his season, and like I said, LeBron's not going to be there for too much longer. We already, unfortunately, he's barely coming back from injury, but you do see the decline in LeBron.
Yeah.
He's not the dominant force he was in the past, so Lakers are looking for their future. They have a good player in AR-15. Luka, maybe just one more player away from really having a good contending big three for the future. Obviously, LeBron's still there, but AR-15 and Luka are putting in that work.
Oh, I agree, no doubt. But definitely getting into some other big news, we can get into FIFA and the World Cup. We got some current betting odds that you have listed here.
Yeah, so obviously, me and Roy, not big soccer guys. I think you a bit more than me.
Back then, I definitely was into some soccer. Shout out Gareth Bale. I definitely had a lot of appreciation for him back in the day. But yeah, we definitely wanted to implement a little more soccer into our lineup. We brought it to the Ronaldo versus Messi talk we had the other podcast. And
you said Ronaldo.
I did say Ronaldo because he mogs.
Producer Eli is a soccer fanatic. Eli is a soccer fanatic, a purist. Who do you got, Messi or Ronaldo? Loud. You got Messi?
Messi.
Okay.
He has Messi. You had Messi as well?
I had Messi as well. He said Ronaldo. Can you believe that?
Ronaldo mogs, and I feel like he's a different type of player.
Just because he mogs.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, no. So we have the betting odds here. On top of obviously, I put up the betting odds because I really don't know much about these teams. I want to learn a bit more.
Yeah.
Just because it's a big thing going on here in the U.S. I kind of want to go to a game. Imagine that, BG Nation taking over the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
But the betting favorite right now is Spain, and I did catch a Spain game actually, maybe a year ago when they have the whatever league they have in Europe. Whenever the European teams play, I saw Spain won that, and they were dominant. The games I caught from them, they were dominant. Very interesting though. I do see England here is number 2.
England has some hitters. Yeah, I believe they have Cole Palmer. You know Cole Palmer. Hiseli Cole Palmer.
No,
you do not know who that is.
No,
he's a white boy and he's tough. He's super tough in England. They have Jude Bellingham. Does that ring a bell?
No.
I really don't know who else they have. Other than that, Harry Kane. I don't know if Harry Kane's playing in this World Cup, but they have some ballers, no doubt. So I can see why they're up here. Number 2 for betting odds is quite high in my opinion, but
I was about to say, I feel like England, just because how good their league is, should probably be one of the best teams. However, Producer E, can you please look up the last time England won the World Cup? Just because I feel like it has been a minute. And anytime I watch the World Cup, or I have, because obviously I do watch them when it's on TV, they're not winning that thing. They're usually not winning the World Cup. When was the last time England won the World Cup, Eli?
No, for sure. They definitely have had some tragic endings, I believe. And England fans are always rooting for them. But they're one of those teams where, they're hyped up, I believe, going into, the World Cup or their big tournaments. Like you said, they play in the Premier League. And they never show out completely. But, Producer, do you
have a stat on that?
What are your stats on that one?
Oh, you're struggling over there to find it.
1566.
All right. And we're back. Technical difficulties due to Producer E. But you know what's fine? He's a rookie. He's actually never done this before. So
he is a rookie.
Big leagues called him, and he's stepping up in a big way. But that was a little miscue, little INT, maybe a little forced fumble right there. But we're back. I was talking about England being the second highest odds to win the World Cup, which I thought was crazy. I just asked Eli when was the last time England won the World Cup. He said 1966. We're talking about it. The Beatles were still a band back then. Roy said England must have been rocking back then. They had the Beatles. They won the freaking World Cup. But It just brought me to a point. Their whole culture is based around soccer. They have like the best league. You just said they have freaking soccer stadiums in their backyard, and they haven't won a chip since '66. That's sorry. That is honestly really sorry.
That is definitely something to say. That's a crazy thing to say, in my opinion, about a whole nation. Definitely dissing the entire England's ability to produce athletes.
I mean,
it's kind of crazy to say.
The debate is that the United States has other sports like basketball and football, so our best athletes go to those sports. However, if you're the best athlete in England, you're going to be playing soccer, and you still can't win a chip. What did you say, Eli? That they won 4th place in like 1980.
It's crazy.
That's the best thing you got to your name is 4th place in the 80s. Come on.
I definitely get what you're saying, no doubt. I think what the thing is that the World Cup is a very hard trophy to win. It's probably one of the most sought after, no doubt. Maybe even in all of sports, no doubt about that. But yeah, definitely England, like we said, stadiums in their backyards. Prime England, 1966. I really don't like how they're second in odds. I feel like they're one of those teams that are always, high in odds. They high expectations, but they always fumble it. Kind of like the Cowboys,
Longhorns,
teams like that. A little more familiar teams. We got France right behind them at 3rd. What's up?
That makes sense. I mean, France makes sense. They have Mbappe. They won 2 with Mbappe, haven't they, already in his young career?
So they for sure won 1. Did they win a more recent one?
Eli, can you see? Look that up for us real quick.
Right.
Have France won 2 with Mbappe? But yeah, France makes sense because they do have Mbappe. Brazil, I feel like always has really good teams. Yep. Argentina. One that surprises me is Colombia down here at 3,500 because I know they made it to the championship game in the South Cup version of whatever they do in Europe.
Yep.
They have that for the South America.
Yep.
And Colombia made it 2nd place, and they're a really good team. So seeing them this far down is a little surprising. One with Mbappe. Good thing producer E on it.
Sure.
There
they
we go.
nearly had that one. I believe this was last World Cup against Argentina. That's the one you're probably thinking of. Very close. I believe he had a damn near hat trick.
I think he had a hat trick.
And but Argentina and Messi. That honestly, according to you, actually got him into the GOAT conversation. And that's a very reasonable take.
Yeah.
But
so Argentina. Speaking about Messi, Argentina's still up there in 5th place. I feel like. Is Messi going to play? I know he's a lot older. I don't know if he still plays, and even if he does, how much contribution he has. But Argentina's always going to have good teams. Like I mentioned, Argentina did beat Colombia in the South America tournament they have. But yeah, a lot of European representation. Germany, I know, always has good teams. Portugal, with Ronaldo still there. But it's interesting to see if those stars are going to be playing. Do you know if they're going to be playing?
Yes, I believe so. No, I think they actually are going to be playing, no doubt. I have seen Ronaldo's, I believe we talked about it last pod, or maybe the pod before that. Ronaldo's still hitting, bicycle kicks at the age of, I believe, 40. And Messi, yes, he is older in age, but he's still doing his thing over there in Inter Miami. And I believe so, like he just said they won against Colombia.
Yes.
And, they're going to play. It's next summer.
Okay, and then rounding out, obviously I don't know much about Norway or Belgium, in my opinion. I'd like to know a bit more, so hopefully getting close to the World Cup, we can speak a bit more of these teams. We can see some of these games coming up. But I do know, it's not pulled up right here, I do know Mexico and USA do have the same betting odds to win. They're both at plus 6,000. I think you had a take to say about that, about USA and Mexico's teams?
Yeah, so just really quickly, Norway, I believe, has Erling Haaland, I believe.
Haaland.
Haaland.
The guy, no eyebrows, long hair.
Clash Royale, or Clash of Clans. But yeah, what's it called? They have that player. I just wanted to say that really quick. And USA really is balling in their. I don't exactly know what the matches are called, but they're winning their matches. Definitely a team to look out for. I believe they're better than Mexico by a fair amount. I feel like the odds for them to both win are the same. It's kind of a little whack, but
I know they do play in the CONCACAF, so that's usually the tournament they play in. I believe Mexico did win the last one though. I believe USA actually lost in an upset last time, if I'm not mistaken. So to say that USA is a lot more ahead than Mexico, I think it's crazy to say. Obviously, Mexico all time has a bigger culture of winning in soccer, I guess. They obviously have never won a World Cup, neither does the USA, but for them to be even is pretty interesting. I think that does tell the strides that USA has made. They've obviously caught up, if not, like you said, surpassed Mexico in many aspects when it comes to soccer. But it'll be fun. USA, obviously the games are all throughout North America. It'll be fun to watch. FIFA's going to be fun. It's always one of the best events going on in sports.
No doubt. And we're really getting into this because the group stages were announced for the FIFA World Cup. We don't have it pulled up. We could definitely get it pulled up, though, Producer E. But I believe they're definitely playing Paraguay, and that's another, Central American or South American team. And they recently just beat them 2-1. Okay. And, that's still a team to look out for. But like I said, USA is over here beating teams with their B teams. You know what I mean? They just beat not just, but November 18th, they beat Uruguay 5-1 with their B unit. Not their best players, and these dubs say something. Ecuador 1-1, Japan 2-0, Australia 2-1. They definitely win. They've been winning their friendlies recently.
True. I'm trying to look at so I see in Mexico they do have South Africa and South Korea.
Yeah, that's honestly, I feel like one of the scarier groups in my opinion. I heard that South Africa, I believe they have some history playing with Mexico. So that's going to be interesting to see. South Korea is always a fair team.
I always say Mexicans' natural enemy is the blacks. I mean, this is that's a stereotype, obviously, but I mean that's neither here nor there. But moving on, Group D, I'm also looking at the USA one. They have Paraguay, you just mentioned, and Australia. I'm not too familiar with their game.
Not too familiar with Australia's game either. Paraguay is a team that is known to be up there in the Latin America scene. And who was the other player, other team?
So not all of them are here. We have a UEFA playoff C. So I don't know who's going to be in there. But honestly, I think, in my opinion, favorable matchups for the group stage for them to be both moving on. No doubt. Let's see, Spain, pretty favorable one. France as well. They should win theirs. Argentina, nothing crazy. Portugal. Yep. I mean, obviously, that's going to be good. Portugal and Colombia in Group K, like I mentioned. That's going to
be a good one. Yep.
Two really good teams, both in that group stage. England with Ghana, Croatia, Panama. I think England should win. But we'll see. Again, not a big fan of England.
Right. That France-Norway is going to be pretty as good as well. We're going to see Mbappe versus Haaland, you said?
Ooh, yes, sir.
That's going to be a good one as well, no doubt.
But I mean, do you have anything else to really say about FIFA? I just wanted to go over, kind of break it into the pod and get us kind of familiar with what's going on. Anything else?
I'm really excited. Summer 2026 is it's gonna be a movie.
It's gonna be a movie. Let's go. But
no, definitely we can get into the next segment, which is NBA. We want to get into some recent NBA news. We have CP3's farewell tour is no more. It is canceled, and I don't know if you've seen the recent news about that, but he has been released from the Clippers organization. And some news about it, Ty Lue didn't speak to him for weeks. What are your thoughts on that?
That's horrible. That is honestly horrible. I did not know about that. I know he posted in a story, guess I'm cut, which is great. For a Hall of Fame player, arguably a top 5, what?
That's what he did. Guess I'm cut. Peace sign.
Insane. Like I said, for a Hall of Fame player known as a point guard, you can say whatever you want about him not winning a chip, but his greatness is undeniable, and especially what he did for the Clippers in the past. He's probably maybe their best player of all time, of their organization, probably. And for them to disrespect him to that level of him not getting to talk to the head coach, doesn't matter how bad you are. Right. If you're a legend on your last year with your best team, you should be shown with respect. So that just shows the dysfunction for the Clippers, honestly. I've talked very badly about the Clippers with Steve Ballmer, how they handle Kawhi, but this is honestly disrespectful, and it kind of gets me upset, in my opinion. I saw someone post that when CP3 became the 4th highest passer or the 2nd highest passer all time for the NBA, they gave him a basketball with every player that he assisted, and he was only there for less than a year at that time. So again, just comparing an organization like the Spurs, who had CP3 a legend for only half a year at that point, they honored him with that. And then you have a franchise like the Clippers that did not even give him anything at all. They just released him. It's honestly very appalling and kind of disgusting, in my opinion. I'm very disgusted. That is a horrible act. Organizations at that level with that amount of money should be treating players better. They're people at the end of the day, and it just kind of trashes the culture they've built. And I think culture is very, very important to teams, and that's why the Clippers are not like the Lakers, not like the Celtics, not like the Spurs. And they try to be by throwing money at the problem. but they will never be that level because they don't have a good organization that values tradition and culture, in my opinion.
No, I mean, that is definitely a great point that you bring up about the Clippers organization, being just an overall L, in my opinion. Just the recent, scandals that they've had, obviously, with the Kawhi situation that you've been bringing up, Steve Ballmer. And honestly, just in the past, they really haven't been an organization that hasn't had good ownership. The previous owner, I don't know if you know who that is, Donald Sterling. Have you heard of Donald Sterling?
Didn't he get banned from the NBA? Banned?
I believe he got blacklisted, or not blacklisted, just completely outright banned, due to his, I guess, conversations he had over the phone, I believe, with a colleague or something like that. And, he said some things that definitely weren't, in the morals and, in the morals of what the NBA wants to be putting out. And as an owner, saying things about their players like that is really, just crazy to say. And I feel like the organization, that's where it starts. The head of the organization is how you get a championship winning team. And like you said, the Spurs, the Lakers, the Warriors even, teams that are known for having great GMs, great head coaches, and actually winning championships are actually very important. And it's being seen right now in the Clippers organization, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call Steve Ballmer a horrible owner because he is a passionate owner. He's very passionate, but it seems like maybe he's not so grounded in culture and tradition like normal people. Yeah. Like I said, I think he just throws all his money. He's the richest owner by a wide margin. Just throws money at the problem, trying to buy his way to a championship and not putting value in these little things that over time build that culture that has a Spurs winning over the 20 years, the Lakers being the top of the league, and Celtics over the past pretty much the whole entire NBA history. That's why a team like the Clippers will never be like that until they do have that culture that they build. Spurs culture, Heat culture, these top teams built on top of culture, not just money, not just the richest owner. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely get what you mean. And just a couple more things I had on mind about CP3 just in general. Great player, like you said, Hall of Fame type of player, or Hall of Fame player. And honestly, I have some personal feelings about CP3 because he did put out the Spurs in the 2016 playoffs, I believe. Might have been 2015 playoffs. And that was a heartbreaking series. I don't know if you watched that Game 7.
Yes, and you know what team he did that with?
Clippers.
The Clippers, with the team that just disowned him. So,
exactly.
But yeah, you can hate CP3 all you want. Obviously, over the past couple of years, he has gotten that hate. CP0 rings, CP0, flight, freaking ruining his legacy pretty much. But he's a Hall of Fame player at the end of the day. You got to treat him with respect, especially for such a sad franchise. You should be treating your main guy, Hall of Fame player, that's associated probably the most with the Clippers from his career. You should be treating him with mad respect and not just him posting on a story. Guess I'm cut.
Yeah, for real. I definitely agree with you, Ty Lue. You are honestly POS as well, dude. You're up there with POS of the week for doing that at CP3. But going on to some other NBA news, we can get into Giannis Antetokounmpo. This has been honestly said many different times before. Kind of just seeming like a drama thing. Maybe fishing for some type of ownership moves for them to make a trade in the free agency. But, Giannis has met with management, and he wants to discuss his future with the team. And this has been, like I said, heard many times before in the offseason, and honestly the season prior to that. And what are your thoughts on that?
If you're Giannis, we've discussed this before. You have him as a number one player in the NBA. I have him number two. Arguably, he could be number one, though. I've given him his props. Right. He's a top player in the NBA, and you have such a sorry lineup around him. Right. Kyle Kuzma, Miles Turner. You're not going to compete. He's been out of the first round, I think, the past 2 or 3 years. If I'm him, I'm not trying to waste my prime on the Milwaukee Bucks. He's gave them a chip already. He doesn't seem like he can do more with that team, honestly, especially with the team they have around him. He's not going to be competing with the Lakers, the Thunder. There's no way that team beats a team like that to win a championship. So if I'm him, I'm trying to get out of there right away. I understand loyalty to your franchise, but when they're not helping you back, that feeling isn't reciprocated. It's time to move on. We've seen Kareem in the past, a Bucks great, going to the Lakers. You got to build your legacy. If Kareem stayed forever on the Bucks, he might not be known as the top 3 player of all time. If he only wins one chip, you know what I mean?
That's one thing to say. Yeah, that's definitely a big topic to bring up. As a, avid person who loves to see trades, I love to see big trades. I feel like everyone does. Everyone was shocked with that Luka trade. I know that for sure. But like you said, Kareem's legacy probably wouldn't have been the same if he stayed with the Bucks. Him going to the Lakers is an insane move, honestly, in my opinion. Giannis, who knows where he could go. I didn't really write too many future trade destinations. I had it throughout the Spurs there, no doubt. We could definitely, maybe throw in a little. I hate to say, I know this would maybe be crazy to say, but I wouldn't mind throwing in a little Steph Castle, in my opinion.
Okay.
Throw in a Steph Castle. You had the picks, obviously, no doubt, to to get a Giannis. It's really just up to the Spurs organization if they want to, really count on Giannis being the, solid. All good. Of him being solid throughout the rest of his, career, in my opinion, because he did go down with a calf strain that has been lingering from the year prior, which makes him out for the next multiple weeks, no doubt. But I'd say like 4 weeks, no doubt, and that is insane. To be trading about 3 first-round picks, 3 first-rounders.
The trade talks have surrounded Giannis and the Spurs before. Those have been rumors, or at least talks in the past.
Yeah.
And as a Spurs fan, you hear moving on Stephon Castle, moving on those picks. And I mean, at first glance, you think, no, I don't want to trade Stephon Castle. He's such a great high-impact player at such a young age. He's a future all-star. But when it's for a player like Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think you can send everyone but Wemby at that point. You can send Stephon Castle. You can send Dylan Harper. At the end of the day, you're getting Giannis Antetokounmpo. You just said he's the best player in the league. So if you're adding that to Wemby and Giannis on defense, and then being unstoppable on offense, you send the house. You send however many picks they want. You send whatever young player besides Wemby, in my opinion. Just because Giannis. If it was anyone else, literally pretty much anyone else besides Jokic and Giannis, maybe not, you think about it. But if it's those guys, it's a no-brainer. You want them on your team for the future. He has been injury prone, but the sky is the limit if you have a team with Giannis and Wemby, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, obviously, I love those superstar teams, you know what I mean? Multiple superstars on them, like, 2018 Warriors type of thing. But getting a Giannis type of player, you're going to give up your entire future if, for one player. I definitely agree with you. No player on the Spurs except Wemby. That's funny. No player on the Spurs except Wemby, should be, traded for Giannis, or can be traded for Giannis. And that's just a scary dude. I'm just looking at those stats right now.
64% field goal percentage.
It's crazy.
But
it's crazy.
He's only 31, so in the NBA, he's probably still going to give you another good 4 to 5 years. Wemby hitting his prime and then being able to take over from there.
Right.
You get that. But I think that's a good amount of Spurs talk. I think, honestly, I saw something that might be even scarier.
What?
Someone said that the Thunder might be the best option for Giannis to get shipped there, just because how many draft picks and how many young players they have. Yeah. People said you got to start thinking about the Thunder being the main team in the mix for getting Giannis, just because all the assets they have. And imagine Shea and Giannis and all the other pieces they have around them. That would be insane. And you know what? It's not crazy to say. They're not in the same conference. Yeah. So the Thunder, out of all teams, they probably have the best team to build a package for Giannis. That's not a crazy thing to bring up. What do you think about that?
It definitely isn't a crazy thing to say. I have seen the jersey swaps already, and I have seen the jersey swaps for the OKC Thunder. And that just goes to show, like, the depth in their picks. But I feel like other teams really have to consider trading for Giannis like that, because the Thunder are just, I believe they're 21-1.
Yeah.
And they're looking unstoppable right now without Giannis. And if is a Giannis type of player, one singular player, enough to take down a team like the OKC Thunder, or is it just a waste?
I think the Spurs are dang close with what they have, what they're building. Maybe not this season, but that could be the type of move. That's what I'm saying. You move anything, he's a mover that much where that can take him to contention to compete directly with the Thunder, have an exact opposition for the Thunder. So teams that are right there, right on the edge, maybe just at one player away, Lakers as well, maybe they're close by, maybe they send Austin Reeves, pick some young players, get Giannis. Teams like that are close by cannot let the Thunder get him, like you just mentioned.
Yep.
They cannot let the Thunder get him, so I think a lot of teams are licking their chops and waiting to send the house for Giannis and at least not let the Thunder get him at the end of the day.
No, for sure. I think in the next coming weeks we're definitely going to hear some things, no doubt about that. Hopefully, we don't hear anything about the Thunder getting him. That'd be heartbreaking. But we could definitely get into the next topic with the NBA. We have, in a post by ESPN, head executives listed their thoughts on star players such as Ja Morant, Trae Young, and LaMelo Ball. In my opinion, these comments were very harsh, but they were kind of funny and shed some truth, really on the whole current situation with these players. So one of the topics that I thought was interesting was Ja Morant, Trae Young, and LaMelo Ball's trade value. An anonymous Western Conference GM stated, "I wouldn't want any of them, bro." What are your thoughts on that?
I've spoken, funnily enough, on Ja Morant, or we both have, and LaMelo Ball separately, and I had a very, very similar take to what a lot of those GMs said. I mean, I'm just saying, throwing it out there. I got the same kind of mindset out here. But no, about Ja Morant, some of the comments were, he's regressed. He has not improved. You don't want that show that comes with Morant for the ability that he's bringing with him. And you know what? I completely agree. Like I said, I've already stated that Ja Morant, in my opinion, has regressed already. And what he brings, all that baggage, it's not worth it. I'm not wanting him. He doesn't bring anything crazy to my team. He doesn't bring shooting ability. And you know what? LaMelo Ball, another similar thing that I said, he's just not serious. I mean, do you really want him to be the main point guard of your championship team? He's talented beyond belief. We've seen him since he was like 15 years old, balling at Chino Hills, but he takes the same shots. And undoubtedly, he has that talent, but I need a serious professional to be leading my championship team. And when I think of the word seriousness, professional, and champion, I do not think of LaMelo Ball. So I completely agree with these GMs. However, I would still be interested to see what LaMelo Ball does on a high-impact team like that. Obviously, he's going to ball on the Hornets. He's going to play well. He's going to get stats, even though you have him pulled up right now. Not crazy stats. That freaking three-point percentage is pretty horrendous at under 30. But if you're putting him in those high situations, I do want to see how he does. I do want to see how LaMelo Ball functions when the game is on the line in the big leagues. So I do want to see him get traded because, like you said, we like trades. Yeah. But he's not serious, and I don't want him leading my championship team, in my opinion.
That's definitely a strong opinion about these players. These, in my opinion, superstar caliber players. LaMelo Ball, definitely, I pulled up his numbers thinking I was going to get a little something, good to say about him. These numbers are, in my opinion, a little mediocre. His best season being 25.2 points with a nice little 7 assists per game. Solid numbers, definitely for a Hornets team as well. That's a 20-10 type of player on a good team, in my opinion.
No, for sure. Like I mentioned, the talent is there. The talent is definitely there. It's just the seriousness he brings to the team. And then we didn't even speak on Trae Young. Trae Young, in my opinion, is like really a non-factor at this.
Wow.
He's stayed pretty much my same argument with Ja Morant. He's stayed the same throughout his whole entire career, in my opinion.
Bro, honestly, that is a crazy take.
No.
Okay, maybe, like if you pull up the stats saying he's stay the same, okay. But Trae Young is one of the best offensive players in this league, in my opinion, in the NBA. And throughout his career, he has showed that. He's the king of New York, and I have a lot of respect for Trae Young. Yes, he's a liability defensively, but I feel like, that can be made up at different areas of the team.
And yes, his offensive game is pretty great. I do have pulled up here his stats. He's averaging around 25 or above, up to upwards of 29 throughout his career.
Yep.
So he is a very good offensive player. I know his assist ability is amazing. He always averages 9 and up. 11.6 one season. But again, I just think he's so small and such a liability on defense. He's not, honestly, out of these 3 players, he might be the player I want the most. He's, like you said, he has shown up in the big games, the king of New York. I have seen the most out of him. No, honestly, I probably would want LaMelo Ball the best just because I think he's the most talented. But all these guys are players I'm not really looking to trade for, in my opinion.
All right. How about this? Let's do a little start, bench, cut.
Okay.
How about that with these 3 players? I'll go first. We'll do a LaMelo Ball start, Trae Young bench, cut Ja Morant.
That's pretty much what I would have it at. I'm trying to justify if I would change anything about that.
Right.
I will change one thing about that. I think I would start Trae Young. Just because you see the stats. He puts them up. He has showed up in the big moments. I would bench LaMelo.
Okay.
But he's a talented player, and I would cut Ja Morant. You know what? That's crazy to say because just maybe 3 seasons ago, Ja Morant was a top 3 point guard, pretty much. I wouldn't say solidified top 3, but like top 5 point guard in the league, undeniably. And to this point, we're cutting him behind LaMelo and Trey.
That is a crazy, mention that you brought that up. It's unfortunate to say, but I honestly really agree with you. His antics and his performance on the court and the actual, hardwood, he hasn't been, living up to his, standard. And his standard, honestly, isn't even, it's definitely all-star. It's definitely an all-star. Close to even superstar. But this past couple years, he has not really been producing the same. I totally agree with you. His shot really doesn't open the court up for the Grizzlies in general. And out of these 3 players, I would cut. I honestly love LaMelo Ball. I love how he plays. Executives said that he was a globetrotter, quote unquote, or he plays like a globetrotter. And I guess what do they say? They write it on every what's it called? Report. I guess something about being globetrotter.
Globetrotter is insane in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, it's insane to say, but I feel like he's really a hooper. And if he was on a team like, let's say, obviously not the Lakers anymore. I mean, I would love to see him on the Lakers before they had Luka, but definitely on a team.
San Antonio. Who really needs LaMelo Ball on their team right now?
That's a hard one. I always think Heat, just because he need a point guard, and see if you were to go to the Heat, though, that'd probably be madness.
Nah, I think the best spot I think probably would be the Heat. Maybe, I don't know, who knows? Maybe like the Bucks or something that do need a player like that.
Serious though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he needs that. He definitely needs that at this point in his career. He's a grown man now. He's still a young player, but you're a grown man now. You're a professional. Act like a professional. That's just my take. I'm really pulling out the old white guy move. Pull up your pants, act like a professional. But it's true. I mean, you're at that level. You got to act like a professional if you want to be taken seriously. And obviously, from these reports, he's not taken seriously. And that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of LaMelo is unserious. But do you have really anything else to say about the reports?
No, I really don't. Just some crazy comments by some executives, no doubt. But yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Getting back into some NBA takes. We got Draymond missing the upcoming birth of his child, but he stated that he would miss a game to go see LeBron break the scoring record. Thoughts on this?
That's honestly crazy. I think that's the 3rd time we've spoken on Draymond Green.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't have...
I'm speechless.
I'm honestly kind of speechless about that.
I'm
missing the birth.
I wrote right here. Possible Draymond. Nah, co-host is breaking down from the tape. Look. I wrote here. Possible Draymond W or complete L. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, that's a W. I think he has like 4 children. Look, he has like 4 children already. How often does the scoring record in the NBA get broken? The last time it was broken was Kareem before him, and that lasted for like 30 years. You already have like 4 or 5 kids, so you've already been there for the other ones. There's no point. The scoring record only gets broken so often. You need to be there for that. So honestly, big W on Draymond's part that he's missing the birth of his child. I don't care. You rather see LeBron, but you know what? He's not missing a regular game actually.
What you mean?
He's missing the birth of his child for a game.
Yes, a regular game.
That's fine. He's
like a regular Tuesday or something like that. I don't know the exact game. We could pull it up. Producer, he's probably slumped. But other than that, yeah, I mean, like, Draymond, come on, bro. 4-time champ. He's a vet. Been in the league. Played many games. Warriors, I believe, don't even have Jimmy Butler or Steph Curry. They're not projected to win that game, whatever game they're going to play. And the women, his wife, is really, a chip isn't the same as a child, bro.
It's more important.
A child isn't the same as a chip.
It's more important.
Exactly,
I mean,
bro.
you've seen...
Wait. Which is more important?
A chip. Look, you've seen the way that, Magic Johnson's children turn out, Michael Jordan's children turned out. Michael Jordan's not going to be remembered in history because of his children. Magic Johnson's not going to be remembered in history because of his children. He's going to be remembered because he won games and won chips. So, I mean, you're an NBA player at the end of the day. What's more important to you? In my opinion, if I was an NBA player, honestly, I would miss in the future, if the pod ever got big enough, I would miss the birth of my first child if it meant we're keeping up the streak going of hosting pod. And that's just on me. When you're really chasing greatness like that, You got to be about it. I don't care about no child. I'm not the one giving the birth. If I don't got to be there, I won't be there. I won't be there.
No emotional support.
They have doctors around them.
Wow.
They egg it up.
Okay.
It honestly can't be that hard to birth a child. So, and I mean, the child's not going to remember. The kid's definitely not going to remember if I was there or not.
It's like Walter White, bro.
You could just say you were there. Yeah, I was there. I mean, you might pull up fact-checking history, see if they were there, if they're playing on your birthday or not.
Right.
That'd be a crazy thing to find out.
That really would. And honestly, I think I'm really baffled at this take that the side of the take that you're taking. I think Draymond really needed to be there for his wife in this moment, no doubt about that. He glazes LeBron once again. Who doesn't glaze LeBron? But for the birth of his child, let's not get away from the fact that you said you would miss the birth of your first child for the pod. That's quite dedicated.
That's FTP.
The comments, please let us know. What are your thoughts on Joanne? Even saying that take. I'm honestly kind of baffled.
I'm all FTP. I'm for the pod.
I do like that, but some interesting takes. But
Big E, producer E, would you miss the birth of your child to help us produce this pod? Get out of here, dude. You
didn't even know the rules, producer E.
Yeah, no F-bombs on here.
Come on, producer E.
But all right, that's obviously a crazy thing to say from Draymond, but
absolutely crazy.
Draymond comes out with wild stuff week after week. I won't lie.
He's a media machine, and honestly, I love it. I don't love that he did this, but I love that we're able to talk about him, and he always does something absurd.
I love it.
But we could definitely get into some NFL.
Let me hit it.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the Baker's Gold NFL zone.
I like that.
There we go. All right, kicking it off as we always do with pick'ems. Like I spoke, yep. I had that bad record 7-9. Roy not too much better at 9-7, but Roy does have the edge on me. However, not here. I made sure Roy let me know what team he was picking ahead of time for this exact moment. And Roy, who did you pick, the Cowboys or Detroit for yesterday's game?
I picked the Cowboys.
There we go.
I picked the Cowboys. And then, I don't know if y'all saw the outcome of that. Thursday Night Football, playoffs, high hopes for the Cowboys. Big game for both teams. And Detroit came out on top. You didn't tell me who you picked.
Bum.
You didn't. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Boom. I picked the Lions. I always got to unlock right here. But I picked the Lions. He picked the Cowboys. So I'm already up 1. So I just got to get up 1 more. And we'll be behind on the season by it's quite a bit. You had a really good run at 11-1. So I got some catching up to do. So we'll move on to the second game. We have Seattle at Atlanta. Who do you got?
Seattle at Atlanta. Atlanta, crazy loss to the Jets. Screwed up my pick'em. Give me Seattle. No doubt about that. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Me too.
Seattle.
I also have Seattle. After that, we got Tennessee at Cleveland. Who do you got?
Tennessee at Cleveland. Tennessee is trash, in my opinion. Give me Cleveland Browns and Shador to get the dub on that one.
I have the Browns as well. I've turned my page on Shador. He's not playing too badly. And that defense with Myles Garrett looming at that sack record.
Insane.
Give me Cleveland.
Yep.
Chicago at Green Bay. Huge game for the NFC North as well as the entire NFL. Who do you got?
No doubt about that. I have some things that I want to say about the Chicago Bears. We will talk about that later. Big game, massive divisional game. Give me the Chicago Bears to win at Green Bay.
All right. Yep. And it seems like I'm a broken record at this point. Every week I keep giving Chicago their props. I say Chicago's done really good. They've improved a lot.
Yep.
But I also keep saying, you know what? These are big games. I think they're going to falter. Their youth is going to catch up to them.
Yep.
And they're going to be beat by the more proven team. I keep saying that week after week, and I keep getting it wrong. However, give me the Green Bay Packers. I'm still going for the Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
I keep picking against the Chicago Bears. They keep winning. Let's see if it bites me back one more week, but give me the Green Bay Packers. Moving on, we do have Washington at Minnesota. Who do you got?
Washington at Minnesota. That's an interesting one. Is Jaden Daniels playing in this one? Can we pull this up?
He is.
Really quick?
He was confirmed.
Confirmed playing. Give me Commanders on this one. Yeah, definitely give me Commanders. I don't think 9 or whoever is the backup of that.
No.
I don't think they're going to
do anything.
I don't think they're going to do anything.
Yeah, no, same thing here. I do have Washington winning this game as well. Just the quarterback play of the Vikings this season has been so putrid that I don't see them winning many games. And, Commanders are streaky. Their defense wants to show up some games, don't show up other games. But give me the Commanders to win that. 9, horrible. His backup, probably even worse. Yep. Minnesota, not great.
For sure.
All right, Miami at New York. Miami, you're like secondary team at this point. Who do you got?
Yeah, man, that's going to be an interesting game. Honestly, be on the lookout for this one. This one might be really interesting. Jets, very inconsistent team, but they just dropped 27 or 30 points, I believe, last week in a win against the Atlanta Falcons. Give me the Dolphins. I'm sticking with the Dolphins, no doubt about it. They're on a nice little streak right now, and I think they're going to get a dub at New York.
Yeah. Same here. I do have the Miami Dolphins winning this. Well, but like you said, don't sleep on the Jets. They did just sneak out that dub against the Falcons. So don't sleep, but give me Miami as well.
Sure.
All right. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Who do you got?
That's an interesting one. I don't know if the Buccaneers are injury-ridden or not, probably at this stage of the season. I still have them getting a dub over the Saints, but yeah.
Yeah. Give me Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. I spread misinformation last time. I said Baker wasn't playing, and he ended up playing. So give me the Buccaneers. Indy at Jacksonville. Who do you got?
Indy at Jacksonville, yeah.
Big game. Big. Jacksonville just took the lead. They're both tied with the same record, so winner of this game will take the lead in the division. Indy faltering, like I mentioned last week. Last week was a big game. They've been on a little bit of a downslide. Again, they just got taken for their division. Yeah. So if they keep losing these games, they might play their way out of the playoffs. So a huge game for Indy. Jacksonville, again, a huge game for Trevor Lawrence. So this might be one of the bigger games this week. Who do you got?
For sure. I totally agree with you. Definitely one of the bigger games, one of the bigger divisional games of this week. Honestly, I have Jacksonville Jaguars to come out with this one. I'm going to get into it a little later about exactly why. But I definitely have the Jacksonville Jaguars to shut out the Colts run game. And I feel like after that, that's all the Colts are really known for right now.
Okay.
Daniel Jones really, No.
Well, I have the opposite. I have Indianapolis bouncing back. I think Jacksonville is a very inconsistent team. I think Jonathan Taylor will put the team on his back. He knows they need the win. He's eager for the playoffs, especially with the great season he's been having. He's going to put the team on his back. The Colts will come out. Their defense will play good, rattle Trevor Lawrence, and the Colts will pick up the dub, in my opinion.
Interesting.
All right. And big game. Personally, our game of the week, me as a Ravens fan, Roy as a Steelers fan. Pittsburgh at Baltimore, both locked at 6-6, tied for the division lead. Loser probably won't make the playoffs. Whoever doesn't win the AFC North probably is not in the playoffs. Only our division winner will probably make it. So,
most likely.
Huge game, locked at 6-6. Who do you got?
We're definitely going to get into some more talk and details about this matchup. But other than that, I got my Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to walk into Baltimore and hand them a nice, gritty defensive dub.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Freudian slip?
Freudian slip.
No.
Obviously, as a Ravens fan, not too inspired by their past performance against the Bengals. And we've had our troubles in division, again, especially against the Steelers. Steelers always do tend to knock off Lamar. Lamar not playing great. Like you said, we'll get into that a little bit later. But I got to trust my Baltimore Ravens at home. I think they are going to come out and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. That's crazy to be laughing about that. Both teams are trash. Both teams are not too great this year. So to be laughing about that's crazy. But obviously I got the Ravens. You got your Steelers, a big one coming up. Then we got the Denver Broncos steaming hot right now after the dub on Sunday Night Football, at the Vegas Raiders. Who do you got?
Dude, another divisional matchup. For sure the Broncos. No doubt.
Give me the Broncos. Not much to say there, to be honest. Cincinnati at Buffalo, a big game for Cincinnati. They just got that huge dub against Baltimore at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Still fighting for the playoffs. They're not too far out of the division, just 2 games back. They pretty much need a win out. But they're traveling to Buffalo right now in December. Who do you got?
That's a very big game, very exciting game. I think this is a playoff rematch, if I'm not mistaken. I believe y'all are going to see in my betting picks later in this segment. But yeah, this is going to be a big game for that. I got the Bengals to go into Buffalo and take them down. We're going to talk about it a little later, but I got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase lighting them up offensively.
Wow, that is honestly what you just said about Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow lighting them up. That's not crazy to say at all. That is pretty much routine. But I don't trust their defense at this point. Even though the defense has been
Reasonable.
playing better, they did play well against Baltimore, picked off Lamar, I believe, 2 times. I have Buffalo personally. I think they're just an altogether better team, more equipped for this, especially at home, in the winter, in the cold. Give me Buffalo there. Okay. But a very exciting game.
No doubt.
All right. LA Rams at Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray was just ruled out for the rest of the season. Today, who do you got?
Give me the Rams in this one. No doubt about that. I think the Cardinals are going to have to really consider their future with Kyler Murray. And, yeah, it's just unfortunate to hear that he's out for the year with the foot injury.
Yeah, no, definitely one of the more fun players to watch in the NFL.
Yeah.
Especially when he's healthy and playing good. He can still stink it up sometimes. But
for sure,
unfortunately, what happened there, he's been dealing with injury. But give me the Rams. They just fell off against the Panthers. Crazy game. Crazy game. Repping the Panthers this week just because they did get that big
what
dub.
What jersey is that, bro?
That's a Michael Oher jersey, blindside. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, LA Rams bounce back. We just proclaimed them the best team in the NFL. Freaking glazed them for like 10 minutes dang near last episode. But caught the L. But they're going to go ahead and beat the Cardinals and get back on track. All right. Houston Texans at Kansas City. Another huge game. Kansas City on the back foot again, how they have been all season. Houston on the come up, playing good defense. Who do you got Sunday Night Football?
Massive Sunday Night Football matchup. I am excited to watch this one. Houston's defense, I believe, is going to step up this game. But I have the Chiefs stepping up to save their playoff hopes for the season.
I have the Chiefs as well. Like you said, I think Houston's defense will ball out.
Yep.
But we keep seeing it. Patrick Mahomes on his back foot all season. I think it's going to come down to the very last week, pretty much. Kansas City at home, under the lights. Give me Kansas City.
Sure.
All right, and rounding it out, Monday Night Football. Philadelphia at the LA Chargers. Again, another really good matchup. Teams that have been up and down throughout the season. Yeah. Philly taking some L's recently. LA inconsistent at times. But really big game at LA. Who do you got?
That's an interesting. I am going to enjoy this Monday Night Football matchup, no doubt. That's a tough one. It's going to be a good game, but I think I have the Eagles to come out with this one. They need to step up in the division, especially with the Cowboys kind of lingering, but who knows? But, yeah, give me the Eagles other than that.
Yep, I got the Eagles as well. Still a very solid team. I don't believe Carter is playing. What's his name on the D-line? Jalen Carter is not playing. But I still have the Eagles winning that. LA Chargers O-line is not too great.
For sure.
But that rounds up our pick'em to see if I can make some ground or if you continue to extend that lead against me. I'm supposed to be the pick'ems guy, man. I play pick'ems, and off camera I always beat you. Just saying. I do, but
on camera, cameras are on. Cameras are officially on, and yes, I have been taking the pick'em dubs. So my ball knowledge is currently looking like it's on top. But comments, let us know for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could definitely get into some more NFL talk.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned, Steelers and Ravens fan, big week every year. Every time the Steelers and Ravens play, it doesn't matter how good or how bad the other team is, but they tend to be around the same level year in and year out.
Yeah.
What are the predictions? We obviously said I got the Ravens, you got the Steelers. We're talking about injuries with Lamar injured, A-Rod still injured.
Yeah.
Those can play two big factors. Lamar has not been playing up to par, in my opinion, especially not the past 3 weeks. Pretty much murdered my fantasy season, which is, not relevant at all, but he has not been playing well. Ravens have been playing very mediocre. Don't want to talk too bad on them, but it's hard to speak inspired Ravens football this season. What about you on your Steelers?
I personally, with the Steelers, I have been upset watching the offense. Another Steelers season where the offense is kind of lackluster. They had some nice strides in the beginning of the season, but unfortunately, like Juan said, Aaron Rodgers is injured, and it is his non-throwing hand, but he is wearing a cast while playing the game. Kind of just throws off the whole thing and his whole throwing motion. And honestly, this injury is lingering, and Mason Rudolph is really not that great of a backup. If I see him out there against the Ravens, I'm really going to be disappointed. But other than that, who knows? Maybe Will Howard will get some reps.
Will Howard, Will Howard is a proven national champion. So, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't mind being a Steelers fan and watching what Will Howard has in the tank. But yeah, obviously both lackluster seasons. Right. As you mentioned, Steelers are having a bit of a normal down year for offense. It's very frustrating. Yeah. I always say I don't like watching Steelers ball too much just because the offense is not too great. I'll give respect to the Steelers where it's due with the defense and what they do year in and year out, but that offense, it really isn't too great. But, I mean, this signing could move needles. Big signing for the Steelers. Adam Thielen signed with the Steelers and announced his retirement after the season. Do you think this moves the needle for the Steelers, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I believe the Steelers just got what they needed to push them towards the Super Bowl and win it all. I'm not joking about this. I believe that the Steelers are going to show up this weekend at Baltimore and show them why they are a championship contending team. I am not joking about this. I believe that this defense is going to rattle Lamar. Like you said, Lamar hasn't been doing good. I feel like every first matchup, the Steelers show up with urgency between the Steelers and Ravens. And I think Tomlin on the hot seat, he's going to show up with his defensive unit. They're going to show out, play physical, gritty, and shut out the Ravens.
All right. Yep. So, and Thielen is going to be the needle mover for that.
That offense, yes. I believe he definitely is.
You know, don't sleep on that, honestly. It's very funny, in my opinion. I have a shout-out Sam. I just showed you Sam, another Steelers fan of mine. He was going quite insane, actually, whenever they signed Thielen, just because of how a nothing move that is, in my opinion. But this is a meme. Did I send you the meme where Mike Tomlin will say, we need a team of forks out there, and we're playing with spoons. We need more forks. And then they signed a 2018 Pro Bowler. I mean, that's exactly what happened like a day later after someone tweeted that. So I just kind of find it funny. That tends to be what happens. Y'all do sign a little bit of those older players. Y'all have an UNC team. But that kind of ties into what Big Ben said in his podcast. Do you want to read what Big Ben said for his podcast?
Yeah, I'll definitely get into what Big Ben he always has something to say on his podcast. I know in previous years, I don't exactly remember what he said. But he's always talking about the Steelers organization. Big Ben is the former Hall of Fame Steelers player, Steelers quarterback. And he has won a chip, so he does have some credibility. He says, quote unquote, it may be time for the Steelers to clean house and move on from Mike Tomlin. He also mentioned how he should take the Penn State head coach job since Mike Tomlin is a great recruiter. And honestly, that brings a lot of talks into college, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, for sure. So, yeah, like you mentioned, Big Ben has talked a lot of smack on the Steelers since his retirement. It seems very bitter, in my opinion, like a bitter guy. But I don't think this take is too crazy, honestly. I had a very similar take off camera. I've said for like the past maybe year, in my opinion, the Steelers have lost the plot. In my opinion, I keep saying that. Maybe people don't know what I mean by that, but Steelers are a historically great organization with historically great coaches and consistent quarterback play. But it seems like every year they're just kind of hiring or at least signing an old quarterback that's a vet, that's proven, but way out of his prime. And you know my opinion? And they keep signing these old Pro Bowlers as well, like Jalen Ramsey, trading for him. In my opinion, it's just a kind of in my opinion, it seems a little desperate to stay relevant and contending, but not truly building the foundation for a winning future. So I kind of agree with that. Like I said, I feel like they've lost the plot of building the foundation and instead just putting a lot of Band-Aids on something that's already breaking down. So I think if there's a time to move on, it would be now. It's kind of hard to move on from a winning coach like that, but clearing house, sucking for like 3 years, they're a great organization like we've already mentioned. They're very similar to like a Spurs. So the culture is already there. The culture is there. There's nothing to rebuild when it comes to culture. But y'all can take 3 years to rebuild. You can have your quarterback for the next 15 years. If y'all draft correctly, there's some good quarterbacks out there. And start acquiring pieces and maybe move on from these older players. Because as of right now, a lot of the players on your team are not long-term players. Starting with your quarterback, that is a temporary fix. And you're laughing, but I feel like there's a lot of truth to that. You know what I mean? That's not me dissing on them. I give a lot of credibility to what they already built there. But I think it might be time to kind of break it down and take a step back.
Look, I definitely hear what you're saying, and this is honestly a general take that people have of the Steelers, and I think Steelers fans also somewhat agree with the take. It's not an absurd take. But to say that the Steelers are kind of just putting Band-Aids on the situation is kind of interesting to say. Mike Tomlin brings in a certain kind of culture, and that culture is always going to be cemented into that defense no matter who is in the defense, in my opinion. They are drafting young guys. They have players like Joey Porter Jr., Peyton Wilson, some real hitters on defense that I personally like. And I believe that Mike Tomlin really shouldn't get fired, and honestly, they shouldn't move on from Mike Tomlin. It's just an interesting thing to say because the Steelers are always in the playoffs. I'm really acting biased. I can't even lie.
Well, so again, I'll bring back my friend who's also a Steelers fan. Yeah. He said he likes Mike Tomlin. Obviously, if you're a Steelers fan, you like Mike Tomlin. You like the winning. You don't want to let go of that winning because you've never experienced a losing season with the Steelers.
Exactly.
So to take a step back, it's a proud organization. Like I said with the Cowboys, they're not ever going to intentionally tank just because how historic it is. But like my friend, I have a friend, again, shout out Sam.
Yeah.
He said it might be like an Andy Reid in Philadelphia type of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, building these winning seasons but never culminating with a championship, it might just be better for the head coach, Mike Tomlin, to go to a different scene like Andy Reid did with Kansas City, and for the Steelers, like the Eagles, to just have a different coach. Okay. And eventually, you know what? For Andy Reid and the Eagles, it turned out great. They both got a championship eventually. Right. Those are a great coach, a great organization. Same thing could be said for the Steelers with Mike Tomlin. Great coach, great organization. It might just be time to part ways mutually and go figure something out.
I think now I had a little brain fart in that last part, but no, this brings me back into what I was thinking. Now that you say that, that's kind of crazy for me to think about because you saying that the Steelers had to tank for 3 years is an absurd statement to me. Steelers are always in contention to make it to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They go into the playoffs first round every year, and yes, they play difficult teams with very great quarterbacks like Josh Allen. They haven't played the Chiefs, but in recent memory, Josh Allen, no doubt in the first round. They played the Ravens in another. No.
Give it to him. Give it to him.
No.
Give it to him.
No.
Freudian slip. Another team with a great quarterback that beat the Steelers.
Okay, but yes. Okay, I'll say it myself. Tyler Huntley was the quarterback, I believe, right?
No, that was last year with Lamar Jackson when we ran all over him, when we just ran read option over and over again.
But they also did it play with Tyler Huntley?
No, that was regular season.
My fault. That was a mistake for me. But yes, I was like, okay, wait, no, please, no.
Yes, Lamar Jackson.
That would have been even worse, but that is pretty bad too. And I give Lamar Jackson his props. So Lamar Jackson is an MVP and one of the best dual threat quarterbacks, the best dual threat quarterback in my opinion, in NFL history. I always give him his props, but I feel like the Ravens, given what they have, their pieces being Derrick Henry. Yes, they don't have the craziest receiver core. They always have a pretty decent O-line. And obviously that they're great defense. Even though this season they may not be the best defense, they always have those key pieces that I feel like can really change and win playoff games.
For sure.
But to say for the Steelers to tank 3 years when look at the Ravens, right? And look what they have done the past couple years, just like the Steelers. They also tanked. They got Lamar, even though it wasn't necessarily from the tanking. And what have they done? They haven't won anything, just like the Steelers. Yes, the Ravens have won a more recent Super Bowl, but pretty far back.
Look, so what I'll say to that, I would say you definitely won't agree when I say that, just because obviously the Ravens haven't won that championship even with Lamar. The Ravens are a lot closer to the Super Bowl than the Steelers. Reason being because they do have their quarterback of the future that they will contend with. My main problem with the Steelers is that they tried it with Kenny Pickett. They obviously did not get the pick right. But the reason why the Ravens, in my opinion, are always contenders while the Steelers maybe aren't on that level is just because of that quarterback play. And you could say how Lamar plays in the playoffs, but the tiers are completely different when it comes to quarterback. And in the AFC, specifically, you just named great quarterbacks. If you're going to beat Mahomes, Burrow, or Allen in the playoffs, even Lamar struggles with that year in and year out, you're going to need a quarterback that is a stud, a top 3 quarterback if you're going to be winning those matchups, which the Steelers do not have. And that's why I just say you got to rebuild it on there. And that's all I have to say about that.
Exactly. But how is this a Tomlin issue when I understand people draft quarterbacks? Yes, they tried it with Pickett, but this isn't exactly a Tomlin issue, in my opinion. Yes, there hasn't been the best quarterback, in my opinion, options in the draft for them to get. I believe the Ravens got super lucky getting Lamar at the pick that they got him at, the very late first rounder. And teams really slept on him. And honestly, they paid the price, no doubt. Yes, congratulations, Ravens, for drafting a sleeper in Lamar. But no Lamar, they're mid. They're
exactly.
Minshew.
Exactly, but the Steelers team is built by Tomlin at the end of the day. It is his vision. It is his team. And year in and year out, obviously he's going to value that defense, but it just seems like on offense, and you've noticed that year in and year out, his coordinators, his scheme, his offensive team is built is not up to the par in order to compete in the higher level. And again, that's all I kind of have to say to that, because I think we do have to wrap this up a little bit better.
For sure.
A little bit coming up here, but do you have anything else really to wrap that up?
I really don't. Go Steelers.
Go Ravens. Yeah. All right.
Alrighty, getting into another hot NFL topic. We have the Chicago Bears. Have you been keeping up with the Chicago Bears at all?
Bear down. Honestly, they're one of my favorite teams to watch in football right now. Caleb Williams is electric. I had Roma Dunes in my fantasy team. He just got ruled out for this week, but he's a fun watch. DJ Moore, that defense is playing lights out, and Ben Johnson taking his shirt off. He has been doing an amazing job with the Bears, and the Bears are one of the most fun teams to watch right now.
No doubt.
And, yeah, they definitely deserve a shout-out this week.
No, for sure. I totally agree, and that's exactly what I was going to say as well. Ben Johnson, possibly Coach of the Year. I personally believe he should get it. He's a culture bringer. He brings a whole different type of offensive style, and he's really helping Caleb Williams and their run game just explode. And yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, I thought the Bears would be a lot better. It's kind of hard to not get better from what they've built over the past couple of years. And you know what? The NFL is so much more fun when the Bears are good. It's very rare that they've been good in my lifetime watching ball in general. But the Bears are good. They're fun to watch, and they're on top of the NFL right now. So we've been mentioning every week pretty much there's a new top team right now. All the talk is on the Bears, so let's see how they play against the Packers. Ben Johnson had choice words when talking about the Packers throughout the season.
Yep, he did.
He said he was happy he was still in the NFC North because he still gets to beat the Packers twice. So let's see how that comes out. That's just headlines to light the fire for the Packers. What do you think of that?
I like to hear that, honestly. I like whenever a coach has a little banter to him, a little, definitely a little troll to him. And, hearing that definitely gets me excited for their divisional matchup. But, yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about the Bears.
Yeah, I guess one question, though. We keep mentioning it every week. Who is the favorite to win the Super Bowl? Would you say it's the Bears? Would you say the
favorite to win the Super Bowl? It's insane to say the Bears. I do not believe the Bears are still the favorite. I believe the Rams are still going to win, these more competitive playoff games. I feel like they're going to start clicking really, really well very soon. And, yeah, give me the Rams still for my pick. But, yeah.
I still have the Rams as well, but you know what? I keep doubting the Bears. I keep saying, they're a good team. They're young, though. They still got to learn. I just want to see where their ceiling is at right now. It seems like we have not seen their ceiling yet. They keep pulling out these close wins. I'm just interested to see how far this Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson-led Bears team can make it in the playoffs. It's fun. They're fun ball, and it's a lot more fun when the Bears are winning games.
For sure. I definitely agree with that. And getting into our last segment of NFL, we have my picks for my bets, my betting picks. And we could definitely get into, like I said earlier, the Buffalo-Cincinnati game, big game. And I believe this game is going to have a lot of profit, in my opinion.
All right.
Give me Jamar Chase over 7 receptions. Last week, he hit 7 receptions on the dot. He was supposed to go over 7.5. It hooked. It's all good, though. Give me over 7 receptions this game. Give me Josh Allen over 234.5 passing yards. Like I said, shootout, high offensive game, in my opinion. Bengals have been playing a little better on defense, but give me this game to be a high-scoring game. Give me Joe Burrow over 252.5 passing yards. Just like I said right now, high passing game, high scoring game as well. Next, give me Rashee Rice over 68.5 receiving yards. I believe that the Chiefs are going to pass very well against the Houston defense. They're going to have to pass very well, get the ball out quick, and I think they're going to hit Rashee Rice for about 69 yards, basically. And then my last pick, give me Jonathan Taylor under 93.5 rushing yards. Like I said earlier in the pick'ems, I believe Jacksonville defense is going to step up and shut out the Colts run game, and Daniel Jones is really going to poop the bed, and Jacksonville's going to come out with the dub. All right. Yeah, that wraps up my betting picks.
Personally, I think they're not any of them are going to hit, in my opinion.
Okay, literally, if I go 0 for 5, put me as POS of the week.
You will be POS of the week. I don't think any of these are hitting. I don't think these games are going to be as high scoring as you think. I think coach are going to game plan for these players specifically, and I think honestly they're all going to miss. I already mentioned that I think Jonathan Taylor is about to go nuclear to get the dub. I'm still waiting for the 0 for 5 week. We had a 3 for 5. It's gone down to 2 for 5. I'm waiting for the 0 for 5. But put your money on it. Put your house on it. Roy's got you with the picks of the week to make some money this week. Eli, Big E, are you putting money on Roy's picks this week?
Okay.
You try it out?
There you go.
Eli, you know what? Put $5 on Roy's picks, and we can come back next week and see if you made any money.
Facts.
I bet. All right, there we go. Put your money where your mouth is. You too. You know what? You too, Roy. Put like $10 down on these bets and see what happens.
Look, I will get back with y'all next week about this, but I wouldn't be surprised if this goes 5 for 5. Joanne is sleeping on these picks. It's all about game script. Yes, Joanne has one game script idea, but there's many different game scripts that could happen for these games, and I believe I got it right on the dot.
Mr. 0 for 5. All right.
Nope. Not yet.
All right. So moving on to our fan section. Not too much fan chatter this week. Breaks my heart truly. I want y'all to respond. Honestly, one of my more
this is my favorite section.
My favorite segment. Y'all come out with some good stuff. But let's start off. We got Bert. Oh my gosh, your boy Bert has like dang 3 different things on here. So let's start with the first one. The Dallas Cowboys are this year's Bengals. Defense is letting them down. Is letting down an MVP candidate. What do you got to say about that?
Personally, Bert's not too far off the dot with this one. I believe that the Cowboys defense really is letting down Dak and his, star-studded offensive game that he's brought this season. And to say that Dak is in the MVP convo, I still believe that he is, and he really, should be considered. I know your thoughts on that, but
yeah. Honestly, not a horrible take at all. At the very beginning of the season, I would say this is the case. However, like I mentioned, I think Dallas Cowboys defense has been playing better. Obviously not last night against the Lions.
Right.
I also wouldn't say Dak is an MVP candidate right now, in my opinion. Not to the level of Burrow as he was last year carrying his team. But it's not a crazy take to say. I don't hate that take.
Right.
But yeah, we got another one from Bert. We already answered this question though. Gay son or thought daughter? Very thought provoking.
This one is a thought provoking one. But I believe last time I said
you said gay son. No, you said thought daughter.
Yeah, I said thought daughter.
Oh no, big emphatic no to gay son.
Yeah, give me thought daughter again.
All right. Last time I said both. Yeah, I'm still taking both. Alrighty. And then one more from Bert with the triple. Why is Brandon so annoying? Oh my.
Bert went with the hat trick, and one of our friend Brandon, back in the couple episodes, if y'all did tune in, did provide us with a nice little ACC Madness segment, sort of. But the disrespect to Brandon, I personally don't accept.
I don't accept it either.
He doesn't accept it either. Shout out Brandon. Bert, we do appreciate, jumping some takes, but shout out Brandon. Definitely him being annoying. I don't believe that.
I hate that. I've never met Brandon the Kid, but
Brandon the Kid?
Brandon the Kid.
Brandon the Kid is great.
I've never met the kid, but he has good takes. He seems to have ball knowledge, and even the FTP is a friend of the pod. So
he is
Bert,
FTP.
We're all family here. We're all part of the BG Nation. So stop dissing Brandon so much, Bert. All right, and Tristan, another mainstay of this segment. Oh Lord, Unk was at 6th Street with my girlfriend. This 6'5", 260 dude slapped her ass. Was I puh for not fighting? And then he says, oh, and he also took her home. So was he puh for not fighting?
Look, bro, look, Tristan. I personally don't think that you were put for not fighting, bro, because people are going to do what they want to do, and you really can't control that. And I think, you made the right decision this time around.
And you know what? He took her home. So at the end of the day, that girl did not want you. She went home with a different guy. So she wasn't worth it. Obviously,
exactly.
She wasn't worth it. She left home with the 6'2", 260 dude. Don't blame her. But don't blame you for not fighting back. I would have gotten chokeslammed to hell.
Sure.
And obviously that's not a chick to do that over. All right.
Sure.
Moving on, another mainstay, Renee Carrasco. Why is hockey so underrated? Any thoughts on that?
That's honestly a pretty big topic to talk about. I feel like hockey is pretty underrated. I personally don't watch hockey. Do you?
No, I don't watch hockey, but I've caught glimpses of it. Right. I've worked at bars before, and they would have it on. It's such a fun game to watch, honestly. It is so fun watching those guys go back and forth, just fighting in the middle of a game. That's just a rule. You can just fight in the middle. Right. I would love to get into hockey. You know what? For the pod, FTP, I would honestly get into hockey. I do want to talk about hockey just a little bit. Not crazy, not a huge fan base, not a huge sport, but in my opinion, it is a fun sport that I would like to get into. Why is it underrated? I don't know. It's just not really a big market, especially in Texas. We don't got much snow.
That's
so,
true
like,
too. That's true.
So I don't know. It's more of a northern Canada sport.
Right.
So underrated.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting take that you had on hockey, no doubt. Talking about it's they go back and forth and they fight each other. Kind of barbaric in my opinion. You said that you don't appreciate UFC because it's kind of just like them going in there and just kind of like killing each other. Kind of a little interesting take by you, but yeah, definitely like you said, not a lot of snow. For hockey to really be
big in Texas.
That big in Texas, but
yeah, maybe another answer to that. Maybe another thing I have similar with UFC. Maybe they just don't have the big names, in my opinion. You know, maybe the best athletes are going instead to basketball and football. So maybe they don't have the best athletes, which I don't want to diss hockey on. Obviously, they have great athletes, but the best athletes, maybe not. The biggest names, definitely not. So that might be a reason why it's not so big, but I would love to get into it. It seems like a fun sport.
Might have to consider a nice little segment pretty soon on
might
hockey.
Have to go to hockey. They have a hockey team in Austin. Not the NHL, but maybe try it out.
No, for sure.
And then the final question from Larissa, friend of the pod, friend of me. Why you shit on Brandon so much? I think this might be directed to you.
This is actually said.
Why you shit on Brandon so much? That's to Roy. I guess maybe I don't know the lore. Maybe like in the background, Roy's actually a Brandon hater that I don't know about. So you can answer this.
I promise you on everything, I am 100% not a Brandon hater. I love Brandon. He actually, we discuss takes every week. He always, is trying to, help me out with the pod. Trying to, give great takes for the pod. And I definitely give him an ear, but to say that he uses takes, not so much. But that's all good. I don't personally hate on Brandon. The comment, addressing Brandon right there by whoever that was, I could Larissa. But I don't know where the Brandon hate's coming from. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm about to say I hear a lot about Brandon, and it seems like he does talk your ear a bit about takes. I never hear any of his takes that he said. So what are some of his takes? I mean, what does he talk about?
Look, you're kind of putting me on the spot here about Brandon's takes.
Do you listen to them truly? Do you remember them?
Okay, I truly do remember them. But the thing is that me being, a part of the pod, having to create the script, being up to date on sports, I am usually ahead of the jump. Ooh. Don't sleep. I am usually ahead of the jump, making sure I'm like Shams. I'm making sure I'm active on my phone, you know what I mean? So whenever I do hear Brandon's takes, it's kind of like, I kind of heard these already, you know what I mean? And that's all good. That's all good. I still definitely appreciate Brandon. We already talked about this, so it's not like this is new to him. But yeah.
So you're saying Brandon is late to the takes.
I did tell him, I'll be like, Brandon, I honestly need quicker. I was like, look, you're not going to outrun me on there. You're not going to, get to the takes before me. I'm quick on the dot. But I do appreciate you telling me these takes and, keep telling me them. Maybe you'll eventually tell me something that I, haven't even heard about.
Yeah, eventually. Maybe Roy's basically saying maybe you'll give him something worth listening to for once. Just kidding. I'm joking.
I'm not hating. It might seem like hate. I don't know where these comments exactly are coming from. But yeah, all love for Brandon on this pod. All love. He is FTP. We appreciate all these fan section comments. Were those all?
Yeah, that was it.
We appreciate this section. This is honestly one of my favorite sections. A lot of controversy in this one, right? There was some comments on that, but for sure.
No, love for Brandon. We're just kidding. I appreciate Brandon too. I haven't met him, but he has some good takes from what I've heard.
Sure.
Seems like a very nice guy.
He's a hooper too. He balls out.
Very nice guy. But yeah, let's get towards the end of this episode. Running a little long here. College ball. A lot about college ball going on right now. A lot of it will unravel here within the next week. But we'll start off with our pick'ems. We got number 4, Texas Tech. Number 4 ranked Texas Tech. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
Versus BYU for the Big 12 championship. Who do you got?
Give me Texas Tech, no doubt. I believe they blew out BYU in their previous matchup, and give me them to win again.
Same here. I believe Texas Tech will get the dub again, like he mentioned. They already blew out BYU. I think they're a better team in a different league. And you know what? BYU gets blown out, moving behind Texas, in my opinion. They don't deserve to be that high ranked. All right.
No doubt.
So up to some more close matchups, more likely. We got number 3 Georgia versus number 9 Alabama. Georgia's only loss coming to Alabama earlier this season.
Yep.
Alabama, historically Georgia's daddies. Who do you got?
This is a big matchup. One of my favorites. I think my favorite matchup of the weekend. Give me Georgia, no doubt. I think they're going to bounce back, show Alabama a major loss, and give Alabama a major loss.
You know what? I disagree with you here. Alabama just has Georgia's number year in and year out. This is pretty much the SEC championship every year. Give me Bama. Give me Bama to continue the dominance against Georgia being their kryptonite here. Ty Simpson. Wow. But yeah, another huge one. Number 1 Ohio State versus number 2 Indiana. Battle of the last 2 undefeated teams, both 12-0. Who do you got?
Massive game. The Hoosiers, is that what they're called? The
Hoosiers,
the
yes,
Hoosiers.
sir.
Man, I really want to see Indiana put up a competitive game against OSU, Ohio State University. No one really has been able to give that kind of game to Ohio State except Texas. But I think Indiana cannot do it. Give me Ohio State to come out on the dub. Come out with the dub.
I have pretty much the same exact thing. I think Ohio State's going to win. You know what? I don't really think it'll be that close, in my opinion. Again, big props to Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, the kids that play out there for Indiana. And, of course, their head coach. But Ohio State's in a different class this season.
No doubt.
They haven't lost since last year against Michigan, and they're blowing everyone out. They have the talent to do so. Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith. Right. Give me Ohio State, probably by 2 scores or even more.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Ohio State, if they blow Indiana, does this help Texas' case?
No.
At all?
This does not. Well, I could see that'd be a better loss because we kept it close against Ohio State. However, no. I mean, it's still a loss at the end of the day. I keep saying the only there's a lot of Texas talk right now. Sark's going on a media trail, really trying to campaign. That's all you can do at this point. Just sit, watch, and try to talk his way in about how he scheduled his hard opponent and had a decent matchup with him. But there's no participation trophies out here. Okay. You didn't win that game against Ohio State.
Right.
I don't care if you lost by 1 point or if you lost by 50. A loss is a loss, in my opinion. So that doesn't help Texas' case, in my opinion.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, moving on to the final one we have here, Duke, unranked versus Virginia for the ACC championship. Who do you got?
This one's going to be an interesting one. I know we're going to talk about this in a second. I believe Virginia is going to come on top of this one, but this one may be closer than expected.
All right. Give me Duke. And the main reason being I just want the ACC nightmare scenario. It is no longer the ACC chaos scenario. It is the nightmare scenario for the ACC. And that kind of brings us straight into our next topic. I'll just jump straight into it. The nightmare scenario for ACC. So the way the college football playoff works, the top 5 highest ranked conference championship teams make the playoffs. So right now it'll be the Big 12 champ, Tech or BYU, Georgia and Bama, SEC champ, and then the Big 10 champ, Indiana, Ohio State. If Virginia wins, they'll be the next highest ranked, winning the ACC. However, if Duke wins the conference championship game in the ACC and they are the ACC champion, they are outranked by James Madison and Tulane, who are looking to win their conference. That would mean Tulane and James Madison would make the college football playoff, and not a single ACC team would make it. That means this highly ranked, 17-ranked Virginia team wouldn't make it. The hot Georgia Tech team from earlier this season wouldn't make it. And more importantly, this means a team like the Miami Hurricanes would not make the not make the playoffs, while James Madison and Tulane did.
Right.
So again, nightmare scenario. We spoke about the ACC, how they're a fun conference, very chaotic. But if Duke wins, they are not making the playoffs at all, which I think is a crazy scenario.
That sounds like an absolute nightmare indeed, a nightmare scenario indeed. I personally do want to see chaos. I want to see Duke win. I still believe Virginia's going to come out on top, but if Duke were to, knock out that ACC title person, or what is it, the title game, allow them to get into the playoffs, I personally wouldn't mind that at all. I personally don't think that Notre Dame or Miami deserve it. And I personally want to root for the underdogs and see a competitive game, even though usually isn't.
Yeah, it's not competitive. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see James Madison take on freaking Bama, I guess. James Madison, but
it's gonna be an interesting one.
Pretty much it. I mean, rounding it out, we wanted to kind of circle back to Penn State head coach talk. They did just hire the head coach, like you said. Big Ben said he should hire Tom. Penn State should hire Tom as a coach.
Right.
That's something I told you a little while back, actually. That I heard someone chirp in my ear about that. You know what? Not a crazy take. Like you said, a great recruiter. Different change of scenery. You know what? I don't hate that take at all, but I don't have much to say about it. I think, like I said, I did mention it a while back. Wish I got to take sooner before Big Ben got to it. He took it. He beat us to the punch, Big Ben. But I think that's honestly would be a great move for Penn State. Maybe not for Mike Tomlin, but I'd like to see it happen. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Mike Tomlin being a great recruiter. See him as a college coach would be fun to see as well. I personally think that he still has another Super Bowl left in his Steelers tenure.
Okay.
But yeah. That's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for college football. A lot going on. Tune into those championship games.
For sure.
Like I said, I think Texas Longhorns don't have a shot at this point. Better luck next year. We're going to make the Cheez-It Bowl, so that'll be fun to watch in Orlando. Cheez-It Bowl. That's fun.
It's my favorite bowl.
Might be my favorite bowl as well. But, yeah, Texas isn't going to make it. I don't think Miami has a chance either. But Notre Dame went one-on-one with Miami.
It's crazy.
Notre Dame lost to Miami, but still ranked above them with the same record. I'll leave that there.
I personally think the committee is really going to be able to change. I think they're going to decide to change their minds about this. They already have hinted at it, that teams that already have completed their resume completely, having a chance to move up in rankings still. And I believe that this is possible and will happen. Don't be surprised if you maybe see a Notre Dame fall out of the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I would be surprised just because the brand they bring to there. Okay. I think they have technically earned it, I guess. But I've already had my 30-minute discussion on why Notre Dame shouldn't win it or shouldn't make it. I had that like in episode 2. So same thing stands here. Sure. But yeah, moving on to our last sport, UFC. We've been clamored for UFC by many, many people. I don't have much of an opinion, but you have a little bit of news coming out of the UFC here, and I guess we'll speak a little thoughts on that.
No, for sure, bro. Some slight news, like you said. Saw a lot of talk of wanting to add a martial arts type of sport. And we have UFC topic right here. Tom Aspinall getting poked in the eye by Cyril Gane during their last match. Did you watch that match, by the way?
I did not watch the match because I don't personally watch UFC too much, but I definitely saw the eye poking. It was pretty gnarly. It was about knuckle deep into his eyeball, so pretty nasty, sure. But I saw that part.
Definitely semi-controversial because Aspinall was not necessarily looking too good at the start of the fight. People were saying that, okay, like you said, I know you have a take on this, that, okay, maybe he kind of did it to just get out of the fight, like a little restart button, in my opinion. And yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? I don't believe so. I know he got booed by the fans, which I think is pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, just speaks to how tasteless and classless UFC fans are, in my opinion. That's why I don't really want to cater to them on this podcast.
You got some UFC fans in...
Yeah, I mean, classless, tasteless fans booing a fighter that got poked his eye poked almost dang near out. You have here written the update on that. I mean, it was knuckle deep. Obviously, you pay to see the fight, but stuff like that happens. You got the fighter at the end of the day is still a person, can still get injured, and we want the safety of the fighter. He can't fight without an eyeball against a world-class heavyweight contender. So I thought them booing was pretty ridiculous, in my opinion, and I thought it was warranted for him to step out, in my opinion.
No, for sure. I get what you're saying, and I guess there's really two sides to it. I feel like either side can really be correct in this situation. But like you said, we do have the update on the situation. Recently, Tom Aspinall has been diagnosed with a eye condition and may need surgery. This has been brought up because he's also disappointed with Dana White and has stated multiple times that he is disappointed. And this honestly brings to thought, I believe I did hear that Cyril Gane is known for poking eyes. Should he receive some type of penalty for this? What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? Again, this is not my most knowledgeable thing, but I do watch boxing a lot. Honestly, eye pokes seem like they do happen. It did not seem too intentional, in my opinion, from what I saw. But I would be disappointed with Dana White, the way he's handled it, in my opinion. Like I said, I think UFC fans, organization in general, is classless, tasteless. So that's why I don't want to speak too much about it. So in my opinion, if I was Aspinall, I would also be disappointed with how it was handled by the fans and the UFC in general. He is a world championship caliber fighter. Eye pokes happen. You cannot fight without an eye against a heavy hitter like that. So
no, yeah, I totally agree with you on the part that, eye pokes do happen. I don't think saying that Cyril Gane is known for eye pokes and like he does it on purpose is really, true in my opinion. My overall thoughts on UFC as a whole, I believe Joanne is kind of being a little too harsh, especially on UFC fans. I believe UFC, like you said, you are a boxing purist. You appreciate the sport, the footwork, the ability to strike. And I believe that in UFC, you can see the same amount of, movement, footwork, strategy. And it also adds another addition to it with grappling, wrestling, and things like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think if you watched it a little more, maybe you'd appreciate it.
We have Steven over here flicking me off, putting it through his finger like Lou Jester, making comments. But
trolling.
Trolling pretty much. But there are some UFC fighters I do care about. He mentioned a fight coming up. He mentioned both names. I've heard of him. I don't care about him. There's very few fighters I do like to watch. Like if Ilia Topuria is fighting, I'm gonna watch that. He is a fighter worth watching. If Alex Pereira is fighting, I'm gonna tune into that. If you have big names in the sport, I'm gonna watch. If Conor McGregor were to fight tomorrow, I'd pay as much money as I need to pay to watch that. At the end of the day, sports is about the big names. Like I mentioned, some of these guys can't even freaking speak English correctly. You have to sell me to watch the sport, and not a lot of them do sell me, but there are the few, such as Pereira, Ilia Topuria, a Conor McGregor. You have to have a little bit of mixed personality and the skills to back it up in the ring. The octagon. But I don't think UFC has too many fighters like that. Like I said, they're very focused. They come from all around the world. Not a lot of them speak English. I want to hear you talk trash, and I want to hear you back it up in the ring. See you back into the ring. And not a lot do that.
That's honestly a very WWE-based take, in my opinion. I feel like, yes, you're kind of correct. Okay, personality, yes, plays a big part into, who Dana White puts, at the beginning of their career. But at the same time, he does appreciate fighters who really showcase their skills. And this is, in my opinion, what differs from a WWE type of professional type of sport, if you know what I mean. I feel like that's what differs with the acting, and I feel like personality doesn't really play the biggest part, as you say. But I hear what you're saying. You're definitely more intrigued with the bigger fighters. That does make sense. I totally agree with you. I'm not the biggest UFC fan. I don't, watch every single fight. I watch the big ones, probably just like you do.
Yeah. Topuria, Pereira, those big names. But right now, not a lot of them catch my eye, in my opinion. But that's pretty much it. Wrapping it up for UFC and the episode for the week. And big apologies. We forgot word of the week. It was 4 a.m, and we forgot about that segment. But we have it come back for Epi 6. Would you like to let the fans know word of the week?
Yes, we do apologize for missing word of the week. This is my second favorite segment. The word of the week for week 6 is wabi sabi. Yes, wabi sabi. We've been spamming it recently over here at BG Nation, and we could definitely pull up a little definition. You want me to pull up a definition?
Hey, Big E, can you pull up the definition for us real quick?
Big E.
Yeah, but we called Steven Wabi Sabi. He's been going absolutely feral. He thinks it's a diss, but it's really not a diss. It's really not a diss. It really isn't. At the end of the day, Wabi Sabi. You're Wabi Sabi. You're the perfect definition of it. Come over here. You know what? Get over here. Oh, you don't want to? Camera shy? That's fine. That's fine.
It's all good.
That's fine. Wabi Sabi.
Big E might want to come on too.
All right. Do you have the definition? Yeah, celebrating the beauty of what is flawed. That is my boy right here with my glasses on. He's flawed. He's flawed. But yeah, wabi sabi, not a diss at all. Just celebrating the beauty of it.
Yes, it really isn't a diss. Wabi sabi can even be perfect in many conditions. It really can be perfect. And yeah,
that is it. And that is a beautiful word. It's a good word to represent pretty much everyone in here. The pod is wabi sabi.
Oh, for sure.
So that is it. That is word of the week, and that wraps up Epi 6.
Yes.
I think it was a beautiful episode and one of my favorite. And we'll catch y'all next week.
Next Epi, for sure.
Let's go.